The scorching noon sun beat down mercilessly on the cracked earth of the Copelogo province, turning the air into a trembling, shimmering haze. This was no man's land, a place where hope had long since dried up, and where even the wind seemed to whisper tales of despair. In the center of this barren expanse, standing beside the skeletal frame of a burned-out bus, was Captain Ibrahim Traoré. His uniform was practical, battle-worn, far from ceremonial, yet it carried the quiet authority of a man who had faced death countless times. His posture was relaxed, almost casual, but every fiber of his body screamed readiness. His eyes, dark and piercing, were locked on the figure that awaited him across the scorched earth. That figure was Commander Malik, known in whispers as the Shadow. Malik was the ghost of the Eastern Front, a man whose name alone sent shivers down the spines of soldiers and civilians alike. He was brilliant, calculating, and ruthless, a tactician who had outwitted armies for years, dismantling villages not just physically but mentally, turning neighbors against each other, leaving behind a poison that lingered long after his men had moved on. Today, there were no armies, no clatter of gunfire, only the oppressive heat, the crunch of gravel under Traoré's boots, and a single, terrifying question. What would happen next? Traoré held the fate of thousands in his hands. Would he follow the rules of war, seizing the opportunity to eliminate his greatest threat in a single, clean act of vengeance? Or would he choose a path so radical, so unexpected, that no one could have possibly imagined it? This was more than a confrontation. It was a test of courage, leadership, and the very soul of a nation. It was late 2022, and Burkina Faso was a country holding its breath. The enemy was not simply a force that could be fought with bullets. It was a presence, an invisible terror that crept into homes, schools, and marketplaces. Commander Malik had perfected the art of fear. A former government strategist, he had defected with secrets that made him untouchable. But brute force was never his weapon of choice. He relied on psychological warfare, on twisting minds until communities tore themselves apart. He cut off water supplies, not to kill, but to break spirits. He spread rumors, turning trusted elders into suspected traitors. He dismantled not just villages, but the very trust that bound people together. For months, Traoré's forces had pursued him, tracking abandoned camps that emptied hours before their arrival. It was like chasing a phantom, a ghost always one step ahead. Malik's name was whispered in barracks and villages alike, a name synonymous with chaos and division, a force that consumed hope itself. Some called him invincible. Others said he was less man than a dark spirit haunting the land. Then came the message. A lone boy, riding a donkey across perilous terrain, delivered an unexpected invitation. Malik wanted a face-to-face meeting in the heart of nowhere. Traoré's own men begged him not to go. "Captain, it's suicide," they warned. But Traoré saw something they didn't, a crack, a sliver of possibility, a chance to do something other than fight. The air between Traoré and Malik was heavier than the humid sun beating down on them. Traoré's first step forward was deliberate, measured, a test not just of courage but of faith in the idea that leadership could transcend vengeance. Traoré approached. Malik stood unmoving. Up close, he was no monster, no caricature of evil, just a man, perhaps in his mid-40s, with tired eyes and the calm precision of a chess master who had studied every move before it was made. His exhaustion was visible, a weight that only someone who had carried the burden of an entire strategy could bear. There was no arrogance, no hatred, only an almost chilling certainty. "I knew you would come alone, Captain," Malik said, voice steady, almost conversational. "You believe in honor. It is both your greatest strength and your greatest weakness." Traoré's voice was firm. "This isn't about honor," he said. "It's about the villages you've turned into ghost towns, the children who now fear their own shadows. Why am I here?" Through his earpiece, the faint crackle of Sergeant Kabor's voice reached him. Traoré's most trusted lieutenant was positioned with a sniper team a mile away. "Captain, we have a clean shot. One word, and he's dead." Malik's lips curved in a sad, knowing smile, as if he had expected this transmission all along. "I asked you here because you are the only one who might understand," he said. "I tried to fix this country from within. I wrote papers, proposed reforms, warned them of corruption selling our future to the highest bidder. They called me a traitor. And so, I became the cure." Traoré felt a shock of recognition, not sympathy, but acknowledgement of the truth buried beneath Malik's madness. The frustration with a broken system, The feeling of helplessness in the face of corruption. He knew it all too well. But the memories of Boro flashed before him, families starving because of Malik's manipulations, neighbors turned on one another, trust destroyed. "You call this a cure?" Traoré asked, voice icy. "I call it poison." Kabor's voice was thick with rage. "Captain, my family is from Boro. They starved while his lies ruled. Don't listen to him. Kill him." Every instinct screamed to end it now. His men were ready. The nation expected it. But Traoré understood something crucial. Killing Malik would not end the war. It would only spread his legend, creating dozens more shadows to haunt the future. Malik's voice cut through the tension, calm yet daring. "You're waiting for them to kill me, aren't you?" Traoré made a choice that stunned everyone. He pressed the button on his radio. "Sergeant Kabor, stand down." Silence. Then shock. Anger. Betrayal. But Traoré stood firm. He had chosen a different path, a war not fought with bullets, but with courage, trust, and the possibility of redemption. "I'm offering you an invitation," Traoré said, taking a step closer. "Not to execution, but to prove you're right. You claim to be the cure, not the disease. Look around. Fear, division, starvation. This isn't surgery. It's butchery. I'm offering a different knife. A chance to truly heal." Malik's face twisted into disbelief, his plan unraveling. Traoré simply turned and walked away, leaving Malik standing, free, forced to decide whether he could change. Weeks passed in tense silence. The nation waited, anticipating a devastating attack. Then, unexpectedly, Malik extended a counteroffer, a neutral council meeting, unarmed, with key sub-commanders, and only 2 aides allowed with Traoré. Against all advice, Traoré agreed. The meeting, tense and awkward, ended not in bloodshed but in a handshake. Slowly, the idea spread. Fighters laid down their arms. Villages began rebuilding. A war of ideas had triumphed over the war of bullets. 5 years later, General Traoré watched children play in Copelogo, the same province where he had faced Malik. "I was terrified," he admitted, "but I feared more what would happen if we didn't change. Fear builds walls. Courage builds tables. I gambled not on Malik, but on our people, their will to rebuild rather than destroy." The lesson was clear. True leadership is not measured by the battles you win, but by the wars you have the courage to end.